Hello again and welcome to Pearl Magazine. Tonight, as the coronavirus spreads through the city, many are getting updates via social media and TV on where to access essential supplies like masks and hand sanitizer. James, that information seems pretty easy to get here in Hong Kong, but what about for our ethnic minority groups who don't speak Chinese?
Yeah, you know, Mel, unfortunately, because of cultural and language barriers, minorities often feel isolated. And during the pandemic, the problem is particularly magnified. Pearl Magazine's April Zhou finds out how the city's minority community is coping with the threat of COVID-19.
When I go away, I want to go to the park.
Hanin and Hanadi are two younger sisters of a 7-member family originally from Kenya. They've been in Hong Kong for 8 years. They're supposed to be going to school now, but the harsh reality of the coronavirus outbreak means that they must stay home.
I've been home for 3 months already now, and I don't have anything to do.
The last time Hanin was outside was when the family went to celebrate her birthday a month ago.
I'm actually kind of nervous. I'm scared to go outside.
She's scared partly because of the shortage of masks.
The problem is for them to get a mask. It's not easy, number one, in the market. Number two, it's expensive. I've seen some people, they are using a mask made of cloth. So I don't know if it is workable or not, but we can't take the risk using the cloth.
The two teenagers can stay at home if they don't have masks, but Hassan, the father, cannot. Diagnosed with a follicular lymphoma cancer 2 years ago, Hassan is receiving treatment now. He visits the hospital frequently for a blood check and to see the doctor. He gets an injection every 2 months.
I have to go because there's no other solution.
Hassan's illness requires him to wear a surgical mask outside, but for a long time the whole family only had a few to use. They're forced to reuse the masks and sanitize them with alcohol. Not ideal, according to the experts.
What I would use, I would just get an alcohol rub, just sanitize the whole mask, and then we'll just let it hang. Just hang it.
Luckily, help came in March when the family got free masks from some NGOs.
10, 20, 30, 40, 50 masks. And then this special one's for my father because of, he needs a special mask because of his treatments and his cancer.
Hatim says they need more masks as they're a big family. Otherwise, they'll have to go back reusing them.
And not those? Those are the bags?
One NGO says sourcing the masks is not an easy task.
Part of the problem is you can't find masks. The second thing is you need to make sure that the masks you get are of the right quality. And the third thing is when you're bringing it from overseas, you have to make sure that it gets through the various bureaucracy measures in that country in order to be exported to Hong Kong.
Shalini Matani is the founder of an NGO working for the well-being of ethnic minority groups. She says importing masks has become a headache. The group purchased 80,000 masks from India via multiple shipments, but nearly 20,000 of them were held up by the Indian customs. Because of this, their free distribution was delayed for over 2 weeks. And among the shipments they already received, 9,000 did not even have the nose wire that's supposed to keep the masks securely on the face.
The partner has said they will refund us for those masks because that's not what we ordered. And, you know, we felt slightly guilty, but we had to reject them.
This is the 5th day of their distribution drive. Matani and her colleagues are going to Mongkok to give out masks. More than 600 people have already registered for it, but Matani says more people will come.
What we find is actually on the day, there are at least 100 to 200 more people who turn up, and we let them register on site. Well, I just met a gentleman who came to me and said, you know, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I said, sir, you know, it's my pleasure.
People arrive early, queuing for their masks.
Very few masks stock in our home because the mask is also very expensive outside. We got the mask from the NGO the mostly, and some social workers.
I got it from myself and my family, so we have around 30 masks. I think now I have enough after receiving masks.
Matani says getting their hands on a mask is not the only problem ethnic minorities are facing. Their other problem is quickly understanding public health information because they don't understand Chinese.
They don't have access to information. So, for example, they might not know where to buy masks or where there are donation drives to give out masks.
Not being able to read Chinese isolates them from the local sources of information about hygiene products and news about the virus. For Hatim's family, it means relying on help from Anis, a family friend who can read Chinese. He shares the information he reads online, and he also has become Hanin's Chinese tutor.
The teacher could have taught us, but then it was Chinese holiday, the Chinese New Year holiday, and then it's just stopped school from there. So then the teacher just started giving us homework with no guidance, so it's kind of hard.
Hatim wishes he could help, but there's nothing he can do. He says Chinese is hard for him to learn as a late beginner.
It is a very big barrier. You need to know the language in order to survive and have a better living, better lifestyle.
But the language barrier has become one of his last worries. The fear of getting COVID-19 and the subsequent economic downturn have combined to hit the family hard. Hatim has recently joined the ranks of a growing number of unemployed, albeit temporarily.
I was working in the airport, but I got laid off maybe 2 months ago because most of the flights got canceled at the airport.
He was forced to take unpaid leave and waits for the call to go back to work. To ease the family's financial burden, Hatim has found a part-time job as a food delivery man.
Basically, it's not the job that I've always wanted, but you know, anything to put food on the table.
He is asked to work shifts.
Okay, take care.
Tonight he's working for 2 hours, starting at 7 p.m. He chooses to go to Wan Chai, where he thinks more residents will ask for takeaway meals.
I actually prefer to choose to take the bus, as in MTR there's a lot of people. I'm really worried about the virus, and because you never know who has the virus and who doesn't have the virus. Because today I'm a bit late for work, I would just take the MTR.
After a 1-hour commute, Hatim arrived and received his first order soon.
Is it okay? Almost. So now, Queens Road East. Yep, that way.
The map shows it is a 4-minute walk, but being unfamiliar with the area, Hatim got lost.
Sometimes the addresses are really hard to look for. Other than that, I think should be okay. It's not too hard.
The orders come fast, keeping Hatim walking without a break. He sets a goal of $500 per day, which means more than 10 deliveries in total.
Once this virus calms down, I'll try to find a really stable job where they can guarantee me security. As to if any situation like this, at least I can at least get a paid leave or at least have some hours to work.
As the economy has been hit hard, those in retail are also facing some problems. Khalid Khan is a mobile phone retailer in Chungking Mansions. He's been selling electronic products there for more than 10 years.
It's really just quiet. Nothing to do and nobody else to serve. I have 3 kids at home, so the economy, it will be tougher for us.
Chungking these days is empty. This social worker says that's because the building has long carried a bad image that has grown during the virus pandemic.
People always have a negative image of Chungking Mansions because Chungking Mansions is always known to be a place where anyone comes in. It is a place that people feel that there is no kind of control or there's no kind of limits.
Jeffrey Andrew organizes tours inside the building, which has become a South Asian cultural hub in Chimchachoy.
I think we did that quite well with the tours. with the cultural tours that we organized and all kinds of activities. We really changed the whole image. But unfortunately, because of the virus, we had to stop.
Things took a turn for the worse on March 16th. A confirmed case was reported to have stayed in this building. Strict hygiene measures were enforced. District Councillor Leslie Chan says people were not adequately informed by the government.
The management office asked for help to me, and then I want to ask the government for how to clean up here. But I tried to call the CHP hotline also, but nothing can help. Actually, they just ask you go to the website to see guidelines. The government is not really helpful, actually.
We never had any support. We never have any information. I used to come to this building every day, from morning to the evening, and just to make sure that our people in the building are living very safe. So, and I haven't heard anything like that. So, in fact, well, somehow I feel like maybe we have been neglected, or maybe not, or maybe that it hasn't reached to our turn yet.
Jeffrey says ethnic minorities in Hong Kong need people to help them speak to the government for them.
We need the government to come in and say, hey, you're a Hong Kong citizen, let's work to solve the crisis. We're hoping that we can truly connect now, because it's not about politics, it's really about general health, safety, and really about the people.
After the break, we look at how social enterprises are trying to stay afloat during the pandemic.
Stay with us. Welcome back. During the COVID-19 crisis, many companies are being hit financially. Social enterprises, which already operate on limited budgets, are struggling to keep afloat. In fact, a recent survey shows that 20% currently have no revenue.
That's right, James. In fact, less than half have enough cash flow to last the next 3 months. Zella Chin speaks with social entrepreneurs about their hopes, fears, and impact to the community if their socially beneficial businesses shut down.
It's an overcast Wednesday afternoon in the Sanpo Kong neighborhood, and this man is out for his daily jog.
I'm Andy Slang. I start with my career in marketing and sales, and I'm a running lover. I like distance running, trail running.
In 2013, the long-distance runner founded a social enterprise, a financially viable business with a social mission. Andy's wanted to transform lives through running.
Yeah, really. We want to do it as a social impact for general publics. They can do more sports, do more activities, do more running. And then when they equip the skills of running, they can do whatever, whenever they would like to. And then can come out to release their pressure, to build up their stamina.
The social enterprise organizes about 10 races a year, and the revenues from the events are poured into training programs for underprivileged teenagers.
Some of the youth is very weak in the inner self. A lot of depressions, and also some is even commit suicide. We can train up them how to run 10 kilometers non-stop. So this is a kind of both physical and mindful training for the youth.
But then COVID-19 emerged in January, and its social enterprise has struggled. Trainings with the teenagers were canceled. And like many private companies, making money has been difficult for the social enterprise.
When we do a race, I would say we need sponsorship, we need money in order to organize it. Many other companies or corporations, they face their difficulties. I would guess to organize a run would not be the first priority when doing this adversity situation.
Andy's is developing new services which might be in high demand because of the COVID-19 pandemic.
We think that coronavirus actually raised our attention or our alertness about wellness, about health. So we are thinking of some new businesses tapping into the wellness business.
And he's made changes to the operations to cut down on costs.
We offer some no-pay leave for the colleagues, but at the same time they have to cut down their pay.
Salaries were cut by 25%. Andy's hopes they can recover by the end of the year. But if the pandemic takes a turn for the worse, he will have to slash costs further.
Maybe we have to people cut or a further reduction, or some permanent staff have to change to in a freelance basis. That we don't want to, but we have to prepare for that.
Andy's isn't the only social enterprise that's struggling. A recent survey found that 20% had no revenues amid the pandemic, and 40% had only enough money for 3 months. Andy Ng heads up the General Chamber of Social Enterprises, which represents more than 250 companies.
They provide educational programs, they provide experiential training, and this part of SE are being quite hard hit by this coronavirus, because you know that all the schools now are closing. There's no student coming to attend those training. And even the employee of the private firms, their staff are not coming.
In Pok Fu Lam, Willis Yim manages a social enterprise that provides training workshops. He was born with only 5% of his vision, and he attended the Ebenezer School for the visually impaired.
We have around 6 students in one room, and each room has a house parents.
Yeah. Who stayed with you?
Yeah, they will stay with me.
Fast forward to today, Willis works at the school, finding jobs for the graduates. Of the 150 visually impaired, 70% are unemployed. Then, in 2018, the school created a social enterprise to employ visually impaired persons. It has 4 full-time staff and 10 freelancers. It raises awareness of the lives of the visually impaired through workshops. On this Friday, the staff are tweaking a team-building exercise. 2 groups are trying to cross a river made from wooden blocks while blindfolded.
They need to have some verbal communication to talk with their blindfolded teammate. We let them to taste when they lost their vision, but they can still finish some challenging tasks.
Typically, schools, NGOs, and corporate clients would participate in these workshops. But lately, clients are few and far between.
Because of COVID-19, people don't want to gather with others, so school will also consider the safety problem of their students. So most of the workshops are cancelled during this period.
The person offering help will step slightly in front of me.
Willis has moved some of the workshops online. This one teaches students how to guide a blind person.
Students can stay at home and also join our lesson and learn more about visually impaired person's life.
It's only taught 2 online classes so far. The guide is Kelvin Ting. For almost 15 years, he was an engineer and set up manufacturing lines in China. His vision gradually deteriorated, and he had to give up on his career. Now he develops programs and workshops for this social enterprise. It took him 3 years to find this full-time job.
Honestly, it's good. You feel much more secure, both financially and I like to work. So, then given the opportunity, I think it's a good chance for you to perform.
The social enterprise was founded with a $1.3 million grant from the Social Welfare Department. If the outfit doesn't make more money, then it will close by this summer, and Calvin will be out of a job.
That would be bad, not only me, but also for lots of our graduates. There's not much jobs available for people with visual impairment. So social enterprise like ours are pretty vital, I would say, to our community.
The chairman of the chamber says half of the social enterprises in the city serve disabled people, and it would be a loss to the community if they close down.
Disabled employees are less competitive in finding the job in the open market. And that is the reason why that we social enterprise try the best to hire these people, to provide a nurturing environment so as to help them earn their own living, to get some income.
Over at Chinese University in Shatin, this coffee shop employee believes she would have a difficult time finding another job.
My name is Maya Pan. I have been working here for more than 4 years, and now my planning is going to take the barista exam.
She used to work in interior design. Then she was diagnosed with a mental illness, schizophrenia. After taking time to take care of her illness, a social worker helped Maya find work at the social enterprise. She likes the job and doesn't want to work elsewhere.
It's hard for me to find a job outside because if the boss know I have a Soviet status, they'll hire me.
The cafe is an offshoot of the New Life Psychiatric Rehabilitation Association. Chris Wong manages more than 20 social enterprises for the organization.
We find that people in recovery of mental illness face lots of challenges. Reintegrate into the community and getting a job in the market after they are discharged from the hospital, such as social stigma, self-stigma, lack of work skills or soft skills, and so on. What we think that work integration social enterprise is an effective means to help them to get into the community again.
They get on-the-job training so they can find employment at the social enterprise or in the community. This university cafe used to be very popular among the students and staff. But then came the novel coronavirus pandemic.
Since February, the cafes in the universities has a drop of sales by 90% due to the suspension of class and home office arrangement of the university staff.
The cafe suspended its training program and stopped paying trainee allowances. Chris says she has no intention of laying off staff.
We will try our very best not to lay off staff. It is impossible for them to get a new job in the market now. And also, we really want to keep them engaged in work, which is good for their recovery journey. So we will use other ways instead.
Chris is confident that the cafe can get loans from their mother organization to maintain its operations. But not all social enterprises are that lucky. According to the survey, 25% of social enterprises have stopped their operations, and Ng fears more will close soon.
It's a very effective platform that helps the disadvantaged people in Hong Kong, and also to promote different types of social good. It is a shame if we have a lot of social enterprise fade out in this year, and it takes a long time to rebuild.
That's our show for this week.
Next week, we take a look at how the retail industry is faring
and how pets might be vulnerable to COVID-19. Thanks for joining us.
Good night.